Hi guys, welcome to Mendoza Makes. I'm Michelle Mendoza and today we're making French bread. I was going to make French dip sandwiches and I wanted to make fresh bread to go with it, so I was going to make French bread for that. And I have Santa Maria seasoning. It's basically just a seasoning mixture of garlic, salt, pepper, ground up into a seasoning mix that you can use on pretty much everything. My family, we usually put it on garlic bread and tri-tip because I'm from Santa Maria, and what do you do in Santa Maria? You barbecue. So I thought to myself, what if I put the seasoning, the Santa Maria style seasoning, into the French bread dough so that it's also seasoned bread, and like grill it with butter. Oh my God. Those sandwiches were so good. And this bread was amazing. When I was baking it, it smelled so good. I'm gonna show you guys how I make that bread so that you can make it too and use it for any sandwiches that you're making, or literally just eat it with some butter because it is real good. Man, I'm looking forward to it. I'm hungry already. Let's go. For the dough, we're gonna start with 2 1/4 cups warm water, 1 tablespoon of active dry yeast, and 2 tablespoons of sugar. Give that a good mix and make sure it's distributed to make sure your yeast is active. Then add a pinch of salt and 2 tablespoons of olive oil or vegetable oil. This recipe makes 2 loaves of bread, so we're gonna add 3 cups of the flour first, mix that up, and then add the remaining flour. If you need to just make 1 loaf, you can cut it in half. This is a seasoning that I used, but you can use any type of seasoning depending on what you're doing with the bread and what flavor profile you're going for. I first added 1 tablespoon while the mixer was not mixing, and then I let that mix for a little bit, and then I added the remaining tablespoon to make sure that it was well distributed while the mixer was going. And that seemed to help a lot so you don't get clumps of seasoning in the dough when it's done. This dough does end up being pretty sticky when you are done mixing it up, and it makes it a little hard to deal with. I find that making sure that you have a well-floured surface and patting your hands, making sure that your hands are well floured while you're dealing with the dough is really helpful. I found that a curved bench scraper, or bowl scraper I guess it would be called, really helps me get it out of the mixing bowl because, like I said, it's really sticky, so this bench scraper was awesome. Once you have it out of the bowl, I add some oil into the same bowl. You can use a clean one if you want, but I've found that it doesn't really matter and it saves me dirty dishes if I just use the same bowl. So I just rub some oil around on the inside so that while it's rising, it doesn't stick to the bowl. And then I just form it into a ball and plop it back in there. And it's gonna rise for an hour at this stage. So I just cover it and set it to the side for an hour until it's doubled in size. Then once it's done rising, punch it down to get the gases out. You can see that it's much easier to get out of the bowl because I oiled it. So I'm gonna cut it in half because this recipe makes 2 loaves of bread. And it's still pretty sticky, so a well-floured surface is very helpful. And we're actually going to roll it out flat and then roll it up kind of like you do with cinnamon rolls if you've ever made those. You want to roll it up pretty tightly, and what I found helps me is if I kind of, as I'm rolling, pull it back towards me just a little bit, very gently, to keep it in a tight roll. If you start making it too loose, you'll get weird air pockets in the bread, and it's not bad. It'll still bake and it'll still be good, but it won't have that really fluffy, dense crumb. I just kind of pat the ends and then I just tuck them in under the bottom. And then once I have that done, I just roll the loaf that I just created to kind of seal the bottom. And then those are gonna rest for another hour or until doubled in size. So I just score them diagonally. You can do a fancy design if you want, but I just went for the classic French bread little slash. Then brush with egg wash. This will help it brown in the oven and help create a nice crispy crust. Now they're ready for the oven. When I add the bread to the oven, I also add a cake pan full of ice cubes. This melts in the oven, creating steam, and helps give the bread that like really crispy crust on the outside. I'm gonna try it. It's like a bread cloud. And the good thing about stuff like this is just using the base recipe for this French bread, you can add whatever seasonings you like. Parsley, oregano, dill, rosemary, basil. I mean, you can make pretty much everything, anything. You could probably even put cheese. Actually, as I was rolling up the dough, I was kind of thinking to myself, what if you just put like shredded cheddar cheese in here as you're rolling it up? Because then the cheese would melt into the bread as it's baking. That would be something really cool to try. Ooh, you could do like a sun-dried tomato and basil, and then put Parmesan cheese. Ooh, garlic. Ooh, man, I'm giving myself recipe ideas just right now. Well, anyways, there's always some different twists that you can try, which is really cool, and I love stuff like that. So I hope you guys like it too. If you have any ideas for flavorings for French bread, let me know in the comments. If you like this video or you learned something, give it a like. If you'd like to learn more, subscribe to my channel. I upload every Friday. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!